The move towards more progressive and inclusive laws in Africa has hit another stumbling block. Kenya's highest court unanimously upheld a colonial-era law banning same-sex relations. Anyone found contravening the laws could face up to 14 years in prison. Same-sex relations were outlawed by British rulers in dozens of colonies around the world. Now, many African nations have kept the bans in place even after gaining independence.
Kenya's highest court has unanimously upheld a ban on gay sex, an offence punishable by 14 years of prison in that country. The conservative East African nation is one of 70 that considers same-sex relationships a crime. Almost half of those are in Africa. South Africa is the only state on the continent to have legalised gay marriage. Those campaigning to decriminalise gay sex argued the law violates Kenya's progressive 2010 constitution, which guarantees equality, dignity and privacy for all. The justices who began hearing the case last year threw out the petition, arguing the ban on gay sex aligns with wider, more traditional moral values within Kenya's constitution. For gay rights supporters, the timing of the ruling is especially difficult. Earlier this week, one of the country's leading LGBT activists died of a stroke aged 48. Award-winning author Binyavanga Wainaina was openly gay and documented his life, which supporters found an inspiration. Due to lacking legal protection, campaigners in Kenya fear the safety of sexual minority groups, claiming they are routinely abused, assaulted by mobs, raped by vigilantes or enslaved by criminals.
Terrorism is one big threat Africa can't afford to ignore. That's according to Burkina Faso's defense minister. He spoke to ENCA shortly after another church was bombed on Sunday, killing 4 people. The West African nation has suffered a string of terror-related attacks. Kailihle Khumalo has more.
The scourge of terrorism has caused untold suffering in Burkina Faso. The latest casualties are churches. Just this past week, another house of worship was bombed, leaving 4 dead. We sat down with the country's defense minister, Sheriff Sai, to understand exactly what's going on.
Dans une zone où vous avez beaucoup de terroristes qui essaient de déstabiliser nos pays, effectivement, comme vous l'avez dit, c'est pas hier soir, hier matin, il y a eu une attaque contre une église dans un village.
The minister wants Africa to prioritize the fight against terrorism.
Ils égorgent des gens au Mozambique. Ça veut dire que la menace est ici aussi. Donc ça veut dire que le combat, à mon avis, doit être un combat commun.
Another topical issue in Burkina Faso is the return of former President Blaise Compaoré. Compaoré was ousted in an uprising in 2014 and was forced to flee to Côte d'Ivoire.
Personne ne lui interdit de revenir chez lui. Il est parti de lui-même. Il a été chassé de son pouvoir par les forces vives de la nation. Il est libre de revenir, mais il est évident que s'il revient, il devra répondre à la justice pour les actes qu'il a commis pendant la durée de son mandat.
He says South Africa and Burkina Faso will also continue working together to develop both countries. Kailihle Khumalo, Johannesburg.
It's now time to take a look at what's been dominating social media conversations across Africa. Ethiopia has apologized for publishing a map that erased neighboring Somalia. The map caused quite an uproar on social media, with some saying it was a plan by Ethiopia to annex Somalia. The Ethiopian Foreign Ministry says not including Somalia was an honest mistake. Hashtag Sarah Khumalo. People in South Africa and the rest of the continent have been celebrating the Everest conqueror Sarah Khumalo. Khumalo became the first African woman to summit the highest peak in the world. She received a hero's welcome at OR Tambo International Airport on her return home. Staying with South Africa's game-changing woman, Major Mandisa Nomcebo Mfeka was saluted on social media for being the first black South African female combat fighter pilot. The 32-year-old took to the skies in the Hawks formation during the inauguration of President Cyril Ramaphosa. And that's it for this week's edition of #Africa. From me, Ropiwa Madzena, and the rest of the team, take care.